Welcome back to Twin Humanities, where we're doing another episode, which is the number that follows the episode from last time. But instead of having a person with us, it is just us two people. I am the person known as CJ, and this is the person known as...
My name is Paddy. Hello.
Hi.
That was a slick I'm very good. That was a very slick intro. I think no one will notice the problems.
I think that introduction is powered by the large 4-shot cinnamon latte that I just had, like writing down show notes. So, which is why for probably the first time in podcast history on here, I'm sat here with a lemonade.
You told me just before we started recording, and I wasn't sure if I was still speaking to the same person.
I know. I did mention on Twitter a little while ago that I was going to do my top 3 teas.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if you were still you.
Which is through you, but I can actually do that. But
So tell me about the lemonade.
The lemonade is basically to stop me from, because you can hear I'm feeling quite giddy.
You're all over the place. It's good.
I know. I'm not sure if it's because I've actually had all of my week's hours squeezed into 4 days this week. And I'm actually off for 3 days, and it's a mixture of relaxation and now actual human contact.
It's like, people.
in a safe way over the internet, just so it's voices, so there's no disappointment.
You can always unplug the router and run away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so this week I am drinking, surprising nobody, a tea.
Right, I am going to do my top 3 teas now.
See, this isn't fair. You're out teeing me. I'm a very simple man with simple tastes.
Now you see, you thought I was joking when I wrote this up on Twitter.
No, I didn't think you were joking. I was just surprised.
Apologies if you're tuning in for things from software games, but I think this podcast has always had a little tickle of chaos to it.
So please, introducing my friend T Jesus.
Don't you ever say that again. But I do have opinions on.
There's a parody account.
I do have opinions on tea, because obviously part of it is my job.
True.
Or part of my job. So let me note these down, right. So number 3.
Tea number 3. Swoosh.
T3. It sounds like a video game show. T3 I would put as Twinings Cherry and Cinnamon. You can get it in most supermarkets, and whereas a lot of fruit teas can just be like dishwater and you have to keep adding tea bags to get any semblance of flavour, this is a really thick and syrupy tea. It's very, very beautiful, really refreshing. I am a bit of a nerd for cinnamon, so it's quite nice iced as well if you're just wandering around and doing shiz.
Okay.
Number 2
is T2 Judgment Day.
Yeah, and this is a wee bit of a secret, because it's not something that can be bought in boxes, and really no, it is, because
it's a secret tea.
It's a secret tea.
It's a secret
tea.
Hold on,
I haven't. Ryan Secrets. Number 2 is spearmint green tea from Starbucks. Now there's 2 mint blends at Starbucks. One is mint blend, which is fairly run of the mill, but spearmint green is a green tea, so it is caffeinated, but it's got kind of this little electrical tickle to it. And it's a really, really beautiful, refreshing tea. I'd recommend, if you're going in there, again, have it iced. Ask your barista to put, if you get a large one, ask your barista to put 3 tea bags in hot water. Let them stew for a moment, then pour those over ice, then add extra ice and water into it, and it's beautiful. So yeah, that's really nice. And number 1 is another supermarket one again, by a brand called Pucker, and it's 3 cinnamon tea. It's a really spicy, beautiful tea.
Is that 3 shots, or like 3 times the cinnamon, or is that 3 kinds of cinnamon?
It's 3 kinds of cinnamon. I mean, again, I really like cinnamon stuff. I had sort of cinnamon in my latte this evening, but it's a really beautiful tea. And again, it's one of those that as it cools down, it's still very, very drinkable. So yeah, top 3 teas. Who'd have guessed that would ever happen?
Remember when we used to talk about Dark Souls?
Yeah, We'll look on the podcast and it'll be like, when have people switched off? Oh look, it's
the sudden drop in minutes.
Oh look, it's 2 minutes in instead of 5.
So before we get going properly, obviously we've been away for a week or two. This is my fault this time because I bought a house and I spent most of last week moving into said house. So I've not really been able to game. I still managed to buy and complete Shovel Knight during the move because that's just how I roll. But yes, I have been very, very busy, man.
With a shovel.
With a shovel. Yeah. But now I am now back. My house is done. I can sit at my computer and talk words again. So thank you for your patience.
You see, one of us is an adult who is now married with a house and responsibilities and all that kind of stuff, and one of us lives in a ramshackle, damp, infused shithole.
Well,
with lots of consoles.
Well, you haven't seen the flooring in here.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah, it's not amazing. There are spaces where fireplaces used to be, and utterly no attempt to close them.
Which one of us is which? That's for you to decide.
One of the houses has Lego in drawers.
Yeah, so we to like give a boost to future shows. We've actually been playing other stuff of late as well, and those will broaden within the next week, I'd imagine, and within my time off. So I'd say after this, we've probably got a fairly decent the Humanities to natter on. So we'll do that afterwards. Not tonight, obviously.
What's tonight?
Tonight is lots of Dark Souls 2.
Hey!
It is lots of Dark Souls 2. There'll be a touch of Blooders towards the end, but with an explanation. A caveat.
A caviar?
So, yeah. A caveat. Do you like cats? Do you like caviar? Then try caveat. It's a cat that's made of fish eggs. From JML.
The cat that tries to eat itself.
Jonathan, where's the cat? I just put it on a cracker. Oh, bastard, I bit its back leg off.
No.
Right then, so Dark Souls 2, I am going to launch into my solo foray first.
Please do.
Yeah, thanks.
In a minute.
I'm liking how this is going.
This is great.
Yeah, so obviously we've gone back to our co-op play of Dark Souls 2, which we'll go into later, but I've been playing it I started on Xbox One and have been battering through it to the point where it's not really letting me play other games. So up until a few days ago, it really was all I was playing. And I've got other stuff that's downloaded, and I picked up a few bits, but it's still the game that I'm going back to. So the last time I was, I think did get as far as the Shaded Woods.
I think so. I don't remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
Last week you were a blur.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned that all of the design choices up until this point I've been in absolute admiration of. From enemy placements to tweaks to just the way that the game has intricately been looked at and the pieces moved around, or the continuity between levels with certain enemies appearing to either bridge a level, or it just makes it feel like more of a world rather than interconnected levels. And the Shaded Woods was the first point initially that I wasn't sure of the change, more from a challenge point of view. That it was a level that I struggled with initially, and I wasn't really. I mean, I struggled with the previous iteration, and I wasn't really sure of one of the big changes in here. But the more it's sat in my head, the more I admire what's been done, because it's been done more for those reasons that I mentioned. That for a case of world building and the impact on the world of on the land of Drangleic. So yeah, that was a strange one to get my head around at first, but yeah, again, I applaud what's been done. Doors of Pharos is more or less unchanged as far as I can tell. I still haven't found the Royal Rat Authority. I didn't.
What?
No, I didn't find him in the original game, and I still haven't found him in this one.
It's really easy. He's just there.
I've never found him, and I wasn't going to look it up. So So yeah,
I'm gonna have to show you later, aren't I? When we get there.
No. But I am curious what's because a lot of people said that the Royal Rat, or not the Royal Rat Authority. What's the
Is it the big rat or the little rats?
big rat, the massive one?
Yeah, the Royal Rat Authority. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that's supposed to be like a crap version of Sith from Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've still never found that. But I'm wondering.
It's not the best fight. You've not missed a lot, to be honest.
No, but I'm wondering what's been done to it, and if there's one of the amazing NPC summons that I can bring in that's gonna make things incredible. Because I mean, previously I'd been to what was it, Brightstone Cove, and on the way down to the Duke's Dear Freya boss fight, which for those who haven't played it is a massive spider, and in the run up to it they've increased the level of smaller spiders that are in the run up to it, and they're not necessarily in they don't react in the same way as they previously did. Instead of all coming out of a hole in like the wall or something, they will drop from the ceiling. They will be on parts of the wall that isn't in your direct eye line, and they might wait to drop until you've walked past them. So there's a real sense of kind of spider paranoia.
Dirty bastards.
Yeah, seriously, it's they're much more terrifying. You remember the part in the original game where they all came running out of the wall and you were like...
The one where you pick up the item and they're like, lol, trap.
Yeah. It's probably about four times more terrifying than that.
Great.
They come down on sort of spider lines from the ceiling, and the big cathedral, just before you get near to the Duke's Dear Freya fight.
Cathedral. Oh, the one past the bridge with all the spikes in the floor.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's fucking tons of them in there.
Oh, joy.
Absolutely fucking tons. But just before you get... Because after you go past the cathedral, you go into like a huge layer of kind of interconnecting spider webs that lead you to the floor and the boss battle. Mm-hmm. And the new lighting engine makes this pitch black.
Oh,
absolutely pitch black. So again, it's one of those where my natural fighting style was thrown off because I was holding a torch. But the really cool thing about this was there's an NPC summon just beforehand called Manhunter O'Hara, and she's awesome. She's got kind of like a Pharos hat, this sort of a blouse, shorts, kind of almost like pumps, but also
hat.
Yeah, but she's got this massive lightning dragon bow.
Okay.
And so I walk into the bit just before I get to the boss fight where there's all these interconnecting spider webs and spiders coming from everywhere. And I walk in there and I've got the torch on to see where I'm going, and she just starts picking spiders off from distance around the room, and it was pure fucking magnificence. If there's anything that they've done within these moments with the new NPC summons, and we've seen a little bit of this in our solo game as well.
Yeah, boy.
They've added such a level of cinema and widescreen to what would be an ordinary moment in a level, or even like a thrilling moment in a level, suddenly becomes like, fucking hell.
Because we've not had, like, without naming names yet, like, every NPC, like the new ones particularly, everything we've brought in has been brilliant.
Oh yeah, we'll go into sort of one of those in a little while, but yeah, it was just stunning, and like, and even before I sort of went through to the boss battle, I kind of went, fuck, that was amazing. And again, it's an NPC summon, and yeah, I was just stunned by that, and it was another one of those that it's strange how even characters that they've created purposely for Scholar of the First Sin have such an effect on the game. Like there's in the run up to before that in Brightstone Cove, there's a character called Bashful Ray who will pull out binoculars and just start looking at things around the level.
Like, that's brilliant.
He's literally like a tourist. He's fucking ace. But as soon as enemies come along, he's all about it. He's all about the scrap, And then when in my head, I can't decide if he's looking for other enemies around the level, or if he's just like, "Oh, this is nice."
I think he's looking around the level. I think he's having fun. I think he's looking for places to kind of take his holiday photos.
Yeah.
Is he wearing like a Hawaiian shirt and like sandals?
Let me just bring up.
Just bring him up. Yeah, just bring him up.
Let me have a look. Bashful Ray went to Spain, in the pouring rain, and so much cooler than I am. That's probably a song for a future thing. He's wearing like you'll love this. He's wearing sort of a ninja outfit.
Right,
with just his eyes showing. Right, I'm gonna send you this.
It's alright, I've googled it, don't worry, I found him.
You found him?
Wow.
Yeah, so he's literally got his eyes showing with like slicked back hair.
So he's a sneaky ninja man
with
who
binoculars.
also likes to look at things.
With a sneaky ninja man with binoculars, and it sounds like, why is it the first time that somebody's done that? And he's also holding like two. Is it like a dagger and a shuttle or something like that?
Like a rapier and a shuttle, I think. Or something.
Yeah. So yeah, he's very, very cool. So yeah, that was all bitching. I got to Shrine of Amana. Doesn't appear to have had massive amount of tweaks. Maybe a few in there, which are quite cinematic.
So it's still an utter bastard.
Aldi, you have to bring him in though, don't you? You can't not bring Aldi in.
Apparently not.
No, I have to bring Aldi in because it's
I'm not there yet. I don't know.
Yeah, but you remember in the original game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Aldi wasn't there. Was it?
Undead Crypt was fucking brilliant. I thought the level when I first played it was all right. I didn't think it was bad. Fairly so, I guess. But it's just superb here. The MP summons again are utterly brilliant to the point where I'd rather go back. Whereas I'd reached a bonfire at a certain point in the level, and I'd rather go back to the original bonfire to bring in Devotee Scarlet, who's this amazing lass with a mace who just goes fucking charging into shit and smacking the hell out of it, and another NPC that actually heals themselves. Which is awesome. You know, seeing an NPC Estes is fantastic. But she's brilliant and she kicks all manner of ass. That was great, but there's now a huge decision in the level, and which wasn't there in the original game. One which would normally be, I can do a thing, and then this happens. You know, like
why would I not?
Yeah. But Scholar of the First Sin kind of follows through with, but there are repercussions. And the repercussions are fucking sinister. They're amazing. One of them ties in hugely to a hidden narrative within the level.
Okay.
And is a really breathtaking piece of design. And again, these little things that they're adding almost make the hidden story and the hidden lore in the game kind of sing a little bit more and start speaking to you in the way that the original Dark Souls did. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is really cool. And
making it sound more cohesive.
Yeah, I mean, cohesive's a good thing to apply to most of the game.
Thanks, I try.
Oh. But it's a really standout level, and I loved it to pieces. Dragonettery, still as boring as it once was. I know a lot of folks are really big fans of it, but even as a spectacle, I find it breathtakingly dull. Dragon Shrine has had some huge changes, and one of them's like really subtle and sort of kind of throws you off guard a little bit. But much like Undead Crypt, there's a huge risk and reward element, but it plays out pretty well. As I understand it, you only need to beat the Elemental Dragon once now, not 3 times.
Okay.
Is it the Elemental Dragon, the one that you get the Mist Heart from? The Eternal Dragon?
Yeah. You only have to beat him once, don't you?
Oh, I thought somebody said that you had to beat him 3 times previously. Because I never,
he's a one and done.
I never fought him previously.
Or he's piss him off early like an idiot before getting the heart and have to go and grind souls until you can get pardoned.
Oh, right.
Because you can't beat it. Because I didn't do that.
All right. So yeah, the tickled into a bit of the DLC, or what was the DLC in the original games. And as it was, if you bought the DLC for 360, PS3, or PC, you automatically had an item in your inventory which granted you access to all of it. And I got to a few of the places where I could go into the DLC, and it wasn't letting me do it. And so I started going into some of the secret places in Black Gulch to see if it was like hidden around there, or if there was if I'd just got my knickers in a twist as to how it was originally, but no. In the PS3 version, I'd done a little of the first of the DLCs, so the Crown of the Sunken King, back when you were like, I'm going to get married, I'm getting married, I'm on honeymoon. And it
busy life, isn't it?
And Crown of the Sunken King was kind of dark, scary, and the first weapon I picked up poisoned me.
Nice,
which set a precedent. But I really
that's such a lovely image. Just picking it up and ow, dude.
I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm poisoned. But I was underleveled for it. I just wanted to kind of have a wee bit of a look in. This time, like I say, rather than an item being in your inventory because you bought the season pass, this time there are keys for the individual bits of DLC, and they're separated around the game.
That makes more sense. Like, now it's a complete package and it's a thing together. That does make sense.
So I'd not found the key for the Crown of the Sunken King thus far, so I don't know where that
encourages new exploration as well.
Yeah, well,
you can't just bollock through knowing where things are. You've got to go look for it all again.
Well, I'd somehow acquired like the second one for the Crown of the Iron King.
Iron King.
The Iron King. Crown of the Iron King. I'm not sure where I found that, to be honest. And I picked up the third one recently when I was, the salamander pit underneath Malentia's initial bonfire.
Yeah.
There's you can access with the Iron King
in the forest. Yeah.
So there's one sort of down there, and that was for the Crown of the Ivory King, which I thought was the second of the DLC, so that's why I played that first. But it's actually the third. I don't think it matters which order you play them in. But Crown of the Ivory King, fucking hell, it's awesome. It's sort of this sugary, snowy castle landscape with these violent, spiky ice enemies that remind me of the Crystal Warriors in the Duke's Archives in Dark Souls, but about 2.5 times bigger, with massive swords, spears, or that kind of charging lance thing that I was twatting about with the other day.
Yep. The Knight's Lance thing.
So, it's scary. It's tons of fun, and the boss battle I've just had is a classic boss battle. Definitely one of the best in Dark Souls 2. And reminiscent, probably if I was using a touchstone, reminiscent of the Sith fight from Dark Souls. I know Josh Garrity really rates all of the DLC. James Carter, again of Kane and Rince, primed me for the boss battle on this one. And Ava the King's Pet, as it's known, is really, really belting. I did wonder, with the DLC being fairly new, if there would be similar sort of tweaks in there as there are in the main game, or if they just kind of, well, we've done this recently, so we'll just bung it in. And if I'd missed the NPC summons, which have been fabulous so far, but the NPC summons are in there. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not familiar with the DLC enough to know about if there are any sort of situational changes in that. But there's a new summon that I've not encountered in the rest of the game called Steelheart Ellie, who's a lass who's got like this chainmail. Just looks like she's got this massive chainmail handkerchief draped over her entire face, and she's wearing dual cestus. So she's going into a boss battle, right, with dual cestus. I'm like, okay, then fine. And then she busts out fucking pyromancy.
Ooh.
What a lady!
Punch you, flameu.
Yeah. So I when I summoned her, I was thinking like, right, I'll go back through the level and see if I can kind of earn a bit more souls and stuff. But rather than following me through the level as the other was have done, she was seemingly only up for the boss battle. But she's got a fair bit of pyromancy, which is pretty groovy.
Better not to waste that on the level, eh?
Yeah. And you know how I mentioned previously that the ability to bring in 4 players has now reduced some of the boss battles to a bit of a gank spank.
Trivialised a little bit. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Not here.
I've seen that quite a bit myself already.
Not here.
No.
The boss more than held its own against 4 of us and absolutely tore us a new arse. Also, its health bar appears to be hidden. So I'm not really sure how far we damaged it. Which is, when you're like looking at something, looking at the bar, and you're going like, yeah, well, maybe I'll be a bit cautious, or we're getting close. I had no idea. I've got the feeling that the level's got more to reveal after this battle. There's lots of the level currently covered in ice, like chests and golems and things like that. And I imagine that part of the level might be set to thaw once this particular battle's done, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, still in love with Scholar of the First Sin. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and the fact that it's not getting press. If anything, it's still getting negative vibes. I know I listened to Midnight Resistance recently, and Rich Stanton wasn't crackers on it on the original in retrospect, which opinion and stuff. And then, but I heard 8-4 Play talked about it on a podcast recently, and they were saying that they thought that the graph when they were talking about the new version, they said they thought that the graphics and the design in general was ugly, which is something I really can't see at all, frankly. And I think this new version, all of the P's, 1080 of them.
And lots of the P's.
The things that have been done to it. I think it's a really pretty game. But yeah, I don't know. Our friend Sean always had that bee in his bonnet about when folks spoke of the B team from that Dark Souls 2 is by the B team, and that it's quite derogatory to the people that they worked on the game. And in retrospect, sort of looking at Dark Souls 2, I do wonder if they had, especially with all the promotion that Namco Bandai put into it, if they had a window to launch it and they had to head towards that regardless. I'm now really curious as to who's worked on Scholar of the First Sin. The decision to look at all of this and make all of these decisions, polish things up, because so much love has been poured into it. This feels like the game that it should have been initially, and I didn't hate the original game. I thought it had some good moments. I thought there was a lot that was a little bit bland, maybe, and I'm sure in many ways we talk up and give a little bit of a pass to some of the free pass to some of the things in Dark Souls.
Of course we do.
That maybe weren't up to scratch, but Dark Souls 2 is fantastic, and it seems that nobody's talking about it. And I know there've been a few folks that have picked it up that we talk to on Twitter now. Jeremy Greer's really enjoying it, and I noticed that him and his friend are going on a dual Cestus run. And I saw one of the videos today from that, and that was fantastic. Just watching somebody like do the two-handed thing, but they're literally just grasping their other hand and like twatting something with the cestus. That was
because punches work better when you're holding your wrist as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's goes without saying, doesn't it?
That's how it works, right? You hold your wrist and then you kind of hit them with that. That's just playground rules. That.
Yeah, I know. Brad Galloway's a really big fan of Dark Souls 2, and he's quite happy that we're talking it up a little bit. And we've also got we've had a recent follower on Twitter who goes under the handle of Death Note, who came to the games with Bloodborne and raced through Bloodborne and really enjoyed it, and was curious about the other games and wondered if Dark Souls 2 would be for them. And I was saying, I've applied my Bloodborne style to this. I'm not using a shield now. I'm kind of being much more fluid in my bouncing around, and not even wearing armor. I am a man of pants and perhaps a hat. But they were saying that they've actually gone to a sword and shield thing. They've not followed through with their Bloodborne playstyle. They've gone to sword and shield, and are enjoying the contrast.
Yeah, because that's the standard Souls game, isn't it? Your sword and board. That is your standard guy, and I think it's interesting as well because I was chatting to Death Note as well the other night on the Twitter. He's actually going to go through them backwards.
All right, cool.
So he's finished Blooders. Now he's going back through Dark Souls 2, and he was having some trouble bouncing off Haid. So I've sent him in a different direction. He seems to be progressing well, or she. I don't know. Tell us. And it's going to go backwards through them. So I am really intrigued to see how that works.
Yeah, hopefully they'll keep in touch and tell us how they go. But I'm interested to see that progression, especially that with Demon Souls having certain connections to Bloodborne.
Umbasa.
Yeah, Umbasa indeed.
Speaking of Blooders, let's digress for a little bit. And let's talk about what came in the post.
Oh, yeah, what came in the post eventually for me. So you might...
Okay, so mine came very easily. What happened to you?
Explain how yours arrived.
Okay, so what I did is I ordered, as many people did, the Bloodborne Strategy Guide. I don't usually buy them, but I thought, this time, because Sony were very nice and gave us Bloodborne, I thought, well, I'll spend the money on the guide instead. So I did that.
Plus, there was the intimation that a lot of love had gone into this. That even
this
them
was
delaying the
before
guide,
the delay, yeah,
delaying the guide to add another 128 pages to it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went on Amazon and I ordered it, and then on the day it was supposed to turn up, it turned up at work, and then I had it. That was my story. I have a guide now. What happened to you?
Right, so I ordered through Book Depository, who are owned by Amazon. And Book Depository normally get their books from Amazon US, I guess. They get early stock, and they'll send stuff out. Plus, they're great at getting American covers of books, like the what's his name? The chap that wrote Norwegian Wood and Harbour Wonderland and the End of the World, whose name escapes me at the moment. Haruki Murakami. The English covers now and the previous English covers are absolutely wank, whereas the American covers are these incredible 50s pop art pieces that just look utterly beautiful. So it's a great place to go and get really cool variations if you like a differential on the covers of your books and stuff. So I ordered with them, and they've always been fairly good with me before, but they chose to use a courier that wasn't the Royal Mail, that's kind of a national network of man with a van. So,
or sometimes car.
Yeah. And I came home on the Friday and they tried to deliver it and they couldn't, which was fair enough. I rang the number that was on the side and spoke to a chap. I was like, right, I'm in work until from 7 till 12 o'clock on Saturday, and by 12:30 I'll be home. And I came back and about 12:20 and they tried to deliver it at home. So I rang again and got an answering machine message and was like, what? Basically said I'd be at work from I think 7 until 2:30, and then I'd be back home from about 3 o'clock. And they were like, oh yeah, we're around that area about 1 o'clock ish. It was like, great. So it got to about 2 o'clock, and I was. It got to the point where I was on my break, and I rang them, and I was like, "Not seen you at work. Nobody's left a package or anything." Oh, I thought you said you'd be at home. That's not the conversation we had. That's not the conversation we had. So
remember when I said those words?
So
not those words.
They then said, "Oh well, we can be around your area about 7 o'clock." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll be in." So at this point, I half expected a man to turn up on a goat, if they turned up at all. And about 20 past 7, there was a man at my door wearing a full football kit.
Of course, of course.
What? But
which football team?
I don't know. In retrospect, it might have been Paris Saint-Germain.
Wow.
But yeah, which just adds to the nuance and the bafflement of it. So yeah, I don't know. But
as uniforms go, it's not the best.
I've had a bit of a tickle into the guide this far, and it's fucking beautiful.
Isn't it?
And I get the feeling that Future's decision to delay it has kind of impressed quite a few people, and more people have picked up the guide than I know pick up guides. Everybody's picked up the guide.
I mean, I've bought it, and it's been many a year since I've bought one of those. Many a year since I bought a guide.
Do you think part of it's because people are still trying to figure out stuff, not just the lore, but how insight works? And I think they might have alluded to this on Midnight Resistance when they were talking with Rich Stanton about a lot of the speculation and the things that they wanted to find out.
It's insight. Everyone knows how does insight work. There's a lot of insight stuff in there. I am actually enjoying. There is entire section about all the little NPC quests and things that you can miss. I've missed so many. So I'd see people talking about characters. I'm like, who?
So who? Are you going to start a new character on this?
I already have.
Oh, really?
I already have. Yeah, Trouser Man.
well played, sir.
Of course.
As a tip of the hat towards Matt Lee's Pants Man.
Absolutely, yeah.
How far are you in?
Fashionable. I've just popped past. I'm on my way to. Did I beat Gascoigne? I'm just on my way to Gascoigne with Trouserman.
Now you see, this is quite interesting because I obviously have been ignoring Blooders in favour of Scholar of the First Sin.
You have.
But my single player foray has only taken me up to the Bloodstarved Beast, so I reckon it might be fun to do a touch of co-op from here.
Trouser Man might catch up very soon.
Yeah,
because Trouser Man's he's not lasting long, but when he hits hard. I haven't upgraded a single point of endurance yet or vitality. It's just strength.
Well, again, this might be a nice little mirror to the Scholar of the First Sin run, where I've kind of gone a certain way, and I'm enjoying sort of seeing you react to the surprises, and
we can do it the other way round.
Yeah,
so you'll lead me by the hand through the Scholar, and I'll lead you by the hand through Yharnam.
Well, yeah, I mean it's kind of when I was first playing Bloodborne, it was like, right, I'm hunkering down, I'm doing my Dark Souls thing, but yeah, I'm quite intrigued to do that, because I don't know, it's strange with Bloodborne, because whilst there have been stolen away by Scholar of the Sin, it kind of feels like Bloodborne belongs to everybody else, and because everybody's finished it or is like near endgame, and everybody's sort of talking about it, and I don't know. There's a part of me that's I don't know, perhaps quite protective about Scholar of the First Sin now, and is kind of grabbing people by the collars and going, "It's brilliant! It's fucking brilliant!" And then lots of folks going, "Well, the original Dark Souls 2 was alright, and yeah, it wasn't really that much of a story," and it was no, smack.
Look, you've all finished Blooders now. There's no excuse.
Why won't you love me?
There are too many games that excuse held for a while, but you've all finished it now.
You can't say anything to me. You're not my real mum. Sorry, I nicked that off Holly Bennett today.
Got a bit weird, didn't you?
Yeah, I nicked that off Holly Bennett. Who did that?
But there's also a thing in the guide as well that you may or may not have seen yet. At the back, there is a massive interview with Miyazaki.
Yeah, I'm really curious to delve into this, because the man is amazing.
It's mega big. There's typical cheeky Miyazaki style. There's some allusions about the shield, about it being not completely useless.
Ooh, mind you, this could be a classic troll.
This could be the pendant again. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. And now I'm like, ooh, did he? Ooh, did he? He didn't.
Or when he said that he wasn't doing Dark Souls 2 and he wanted to do something a little happier.
Yeah, I think I may have, when I read that little line, I think I may have put down the book and mentally gone, oh no, he didn't.
He's incredible.
But there's also there's an interesting bit in there about the armour in Bloodborne, about the mechanical nature of it. Mechanics news.
Mechanics News.
Paddy's
Sponsored
favourite
by
segment to record.
Sponsored by JML.
Okay, so they asked a question about the armour, about how you can't upgrade it this time. Armour is just, well, clothes, really. You buy it, it's there. There's not really big, strong armour in there because, it's more... Bloodborne's a more kinetic game. You're speedier, you're quicker, and having a massive load of armour on wouldn't help you in this game. The pace is too quick. And, he was asked, why have you taken that out? And it was basically a way to combat the fact that when you upgrade your armours in like a Souls game, you sort of tie yourself to them in a way. Investing 10 levels, all the chunks and shards and etc. Into a set of armour can be quite restrictive if you're doing your one run. You stick to what you've got rather than having to invest in a whole new set of gear that might not be as good. And also, when you get to the late game, particularly your New Game Plus, your Plus Plus, your Plus, armour becomes effectively useless. People just wear it for the fashion souls, if at all, by that point. And so the reasoning for the armour not having me out to upgrade this time is that the stat upgrades it gives you are not like fixed numbers. They are sort of percentage increases on top of your standard stats. So your, for example, Hunter's Hat that has a 90 in blunt damage protection will always do that extra 90 on top of, like, in a percentage, not as a flat number. So the items and clothing stay relevant the further levels you go up. They still give you a bonus, so there's still reasons to choose your armour carefully. There's still reasons to mess around with it and not just wear the one that looks cool, which, to be fair, is what I have done for the entire game. And that's not going to change for me because I can't wear the ugly hat even if it is statistically slightly better.
I saw the thing. I'm not sure if I've read it elsewhere, alluding to the guide, or if I just took a peek at this particular segment, but where Miyazaki was saying about that the armor you were wearing almost became obsolete in Demon's Souls the more that you leveled, and they tried to tried to address that issue in Dark Souls with the leveling of the costumes, but they're not quite sure that they
did it right. Yeah, that's basically what it says in there. And I love that. I was like, oh wow, that's clever, because I'm all about that fash, and clothing staying relevant the higher up you go is fantastic, because I don't know about you, but obviously you've not got that far into Bloodborne. You probably haven't found that many hats. There be hats.
As a little tip of the hat again, if anybody hasn't listened to Midnight Resistance's chat with Rich Stanton about Bloodborne, they have some amazing conversations about Miyazaki and his views on the world and the way that things tie into darker stories, and even like a few tips of the hat in the end game towards Metal Gear Solid. So yeah, it's an amazing podcast. I really enjoyed it. So go to midnightresistance.co.uk and have a good old listen to that, because it is belting. And while I'm on the subject of kind of recommending podcasts, if you haven't listened to Dark Calls yet,
I'm glad we got here, because I was going to just try and seg you to that myself. Fantastic.
I love Dark Calls.
I love Dark Calls.
It's in sort of it gives me sort of a warm feeling, because this is sort of how we got into Dark Souls in the first place. But
yeah. So in a nutshell, those of you, if you're listening to this, you may have probably heard of it already, because I've retweeted it a few times. But if you don't know what we're talking about, okay. So Dark Calls is a show done by ex-Joypoddy people, Dave Turners and James Farley. James has not played Dark Souls ever, and he is playing it. But without any help from the internet at all. The only person he's allowed to ask for help is Dave, who's only played it once, a while ago. And as it goes on, you find increasingly that he has forgotten some things. And it's been an utter delight to listen to because it takes me back to, like you say, when we first started, when I didn't know shit about nothing. Like, I would walk around and go, what's this? Why is this thing here? Why am I dying? And it's been really good to sort of take you back. And it's, if you see a lot of people online sort of talk about, what game would you go back and play fresh if you could? And it's always a Souls game. Like, what would you like to erase from your mind so you could do it all fresh again? Because, the very first run that you do is always the one you remember. It's the good run. It's not the optimal run, but it's the one you remember, where you make all the stupid mistakes. And this is the best run, yeah. Yeah, exactly. And this is great because I've been listening along, and it's like it's sort of vicariously living a fresh run through James, and just listening to just hearing him sort of bouncing off stuff and not get it and getting a bit despondent, and the next episode come back going, yeah, I've done that, and it's like, yo, go on, son.
I think for me as well, my shifts were all over the place. I struggle with a fair bit of fatigue, and a lot of podcasts that I listen to in the middle of the night when I'm tired as heck, but I can't seem to go to sleep. And I know one of the previous ones, I think it was Dark Calls 10, I was just laying there, and before I knew it, I was smiling, and can't even begin to put a price on how fucking cool that is. So yeah, it's amazing. So if you go to spong.com/podcasts/Dark Calls, or just put Dark Calls podcast into Google, it's a belter. And I didn't realise that Dark Calls 11 has gone up, and it's in dark route, so I'll be listening to that later.
I have not heard that one yet.
No, me neither. There we go.
Yeah, and it's also got one of the most excellent arguments about how to execute a certain technique. In about episode 4 or 5. All I'm going to say is forward and B.
I can't do that though.
Forward and B.
No, I'm absolutely bollocks at it. I can't do it. I genuinely can't do it. If you're listening to this podcast thinking that we're auteurs, that we're excellent at Dark Souls, that's fucking horseshit.
We're just okay. We can do it, but
I'm crap at games.
don't look to us for mid parry ring switches. No.
Anyway, right. So back to Scarlet First Sin and our run. So we're catching up again. We are going to be co-oping again to catch back up to where we were before we sort of dipped off a bit, and we're sort of racing through it, I think, aren't we? We're having a lot of fun. I mean, I like a game kind of, and this was something that I loved about Destiny, that you could kind of meet up and go like, "How you been? What you been up to?" And in initial forays, but with a lot of this, it is fun to see you react to the changes. I'm trying a different build to the one I'm using on Xbox One, and again at this point, and this happened with the original one, it's kind of thrown me off my game a little bit because I'm a bit crapper than I'd like to be.
I know, right? My blood is my hands have gotten more used to the speed of Bloodborne now, and coming back has been tricky.
Yeah, but this is the weird thing I don't understand about that. I've applied in my main game. I've applied my Bloodborne playstyle to Dark Souls 2, and I'm finding that it's changed immeasurably. That I'm faster, I'm bouncier, I'm not taking hits on shields at all. The only shield that I've got is the Blossom Shield for the stamina.
The stams,
and I'm enjoying the game much more. I'm kind of playing it a little bit like Dave Klein did when I used to watch his streams on Dark Souls 2, and I'd be like, how are you not panting it, not putting the shield up? But I'm in that zone with that character.
Well, I've worked out why. I've worked it out because I wasn't sure about this myself, and I have worked it out now. So my Bloodborne guy, when I sort of stopped, because I've started banking into New Game Plus on that now, and it does not fuck about. My New Game Plus guy, he has quite a bit of stamina, and I use one of the fastest weapons that uses the least stamina. I use the Threaded Cane, and you can get like 9 hits in with that, before your stamina goes out. I did a bit of testing the other day, and you can sort of go swish, 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 swish for about a week before your stamina runs out. And then transporting back, I then think, yep, so I'll dodge, and then attack. But just the stamina bar is not that forgiving in Dark Souls. I think Bloodborne, I've got to a point where I'm using a lot of stamina with a quick weapon, and stamina ain't a problem. Like, I haven't thought about it in weeks. Whereas since I've started again with my new character, with Trouserman, who's using the big slow hunter's axe, I'm noticing that I am actually having to watch my stamina again. Not just because you've started a new character, but because the big slow hits take up more of your bar.
But I mean, the thing that I don't get about this is you're fucking good at Bloodborne. You're used to that kind of style.
Well, I beat it.
On the one hand, I don't understand why you've returned to Sword and Board. And with me saying that my character was a bit crap in our co-op run, because I was like, right, well, I've gone kind of full melee on my main one. I'm going to go miracles this time, and I think it takes me away from leveling up like dex and stamina and all that kind of stuff to throw stats into to miracles, and they don't seem as prominent at this point in Dark Souls 2. They don't seem as handy, and it just feels like I've got a character that's falling between two stools at this point, where I'm not attacking as hard enough as I'd like with my regular weapons, but I've not got enough within miracles to kind of be able to do something that makes a difference. But I need to have kind of a character that's not just
that's what soul vessels are for.
Not just a carbon copy of the one that I've got on my Xbox One run.
That's what soul vessels are for. If you've cocked up a bit, you can undo that change. Sort of.
No, but I don't want to undo the change. What I want to do is build a character that's different to the character that I've got on the Xbox One. But it takes a while to be able to get the stats to use miracles, or I mean, magic's probably a little bit better than the miracles and in Dark Souls 2. But it just feels that as my this new comfortable playstyle that I've got with the Xbox One version is there. It feels like I'm drawing stats away from what's natural now to do something that's different, but it just feels that I've got this character that's maybe not hitting as hard as it does in my other playthrough, but I'm having to throw stats into something that I'm not. His
attentions are slightly divided.
Yeah, and that was a frustration when we played on PS3 and 360 as well, because I was doing the same sort of thing there.
Well, my guy, and also I've kind of gone back to the shield in a way. And I know you I know you find my shield distasteful.
Appalled.
But I am playing it differently than I have before as well. This is the first time I've tried Dark Souls 2 with a big sword. I've rocked around with clubs, like the mace before, and like dual hand axes and the punchy weapons, but I've never done it. Well, I've never done a serious, go at it with the big swords, like your bastard swords, your claymores, your Zweihanders, and the great sword I just found, which I'm working up to being able to use. And like the speed of that, where it's much slower, there's less nipping around, I've found. It's more about getting in the right position and then going Rarg! And having the shield with you, is a good way of taking that first hit on it, so you can get to that good position where you can just go ape shit with your big sword. That might change later. I might find that I might hog the shield on my back and crack on properly. Properly, he says, like, no, fuck me. You've broken me in my brain.
Yes.
Well done. But for now, and plus where Scholar is, it's kind of new and scary again. It's quite nice to be able to just sort of tap L1 and go, I'm scared, mummy.
So when we started the playthrough we've just done, we tidied up a few things in Hydes. Was it your game?
A few things.
No, because we've done the bulk of it in. Was it my game or your game?
We did the Forest of Fallen Giants.
No, I don't mean that. We've done the bulk of Hyde's Tower of Flame, haven't we? We just came in to complete one of our.
I think because I wasn't a man's and you were a man's, so we did yours first. I think.
Yeah. So
something like that. I was hollow, you weren't, so we thought let's do yours first.
Yeah. So we've
anyway.
So we've done those now, and what are your parting thoughts on hides before we move on with regards to the changes, the tweaks, and all that kind of gubbins?
Hides is now a trap.
It's the skeleton graveyard now, isn't it?
In a good way, it's a trap. And actually, my conversations with Death Note on Twitter have helped actually reinforce this in my brain, that hides, initially, you go in and you've got the hide knights sitting around, you're like, oh, that's really cool, you know, they're actually here now, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And they're sort of kicking it, and you know they're going to get up soon. But those guys are still tough. Like, they haven't knocked those guys down, you know, because they're in an early area. Those guys are still buff manlyson.
I'd say their attacks are not just because of the speed increase to 60 frames per second, but I'd say that they're actually more dangerous. And the first point in my main game when I found that I was doing a difference was the point where I got the fire longsword. I was two-handing it and using that stab attack, and I could keep them at distance. And again, when I got the hide spear, I was kind of keeping them at a distance. But if you're getting close, that sort of delayed swipe they do is devastating. And even if it goes past you a little bit, the lightning will reach for you, and will still do you damage. So yeah.
Yeah, I find those guys, when they're mixed in, like, you will find, like, when you pop in the bonfire, it's very possible you can tag two of them and the old knight as well, so you'll have three of them. I had bits where I was waiting for you, where I was stood down by the bonfire, just popped up the stairs, had a look around, you know, came back when I was trying to make the summon sign appear, and just one of the hide knights would just wander down the stairs to the bonfire like, alright lad, bought you a sword, and then proceed to give it to me. Which he then dropped, which was kind of great. But yeah, I find even like, I mean, our characters is about level 50 now, aren't we? I spent a bit of time before our last session, after we finished up the wolf. I thought, oh, I'll go back and I'll see if I can unlock some more of the hide gear, because I had the hide trousers drop, and I think they're pretty cool. And I've always wanted that hide knight, like the armour, the white cloak and the sort of the slightly knackered looking armour. I thought, I really, really want that. I'll go back and I'll farm them for a bit. You know, we've beaten this bit now, it's easy. I still died many, many, many times to those damn things. Even taking my time, splitting them up one by one. They are vicious. They are deadly. And I think they're there, maybe as a trap. I don't know if trap's the right word now. Maybe as a reminder that, yeah, you think you know it all. You're still playing a Souls game, idiot. Don't get cocky. Just because you beat it before, we're up here now, and we're in the mix now. You can beat the big guys. Good for you. Well done. You can beat the big stone guys. Well done, you.
It is strange to have heard the people that have complained about hides now that they're not able to just batter through it.
I think something Death Note said is that he's finding it very hard to go through on the first time through hides, like not knowing.
Yeah, but that's not really what I'm referring to, because you know, Death Note is coming to it face value. There are people that have kind of initially in the game have sort of ran through, have gone to the Dragon Rider, have killed him. Have gone up to Dragon Slayer, killed them, and the level's over. And now the fact that they can't run through that, or if they get to Dragon Rider, kill them, and then all of a sudden the Hide Knights are up and wandering around. There have been complaints like, oh, how am I supposed to do this? It's just like, it's different now. Just it is different now. You see that fucking Hellkite over there. Yeah.
Oh God! Yeah, the dragon.
That's awesome.
Christ, the fun we had getting past him. Jesus.
It now feels like there was a criticism I had of the original game where it felt like the levels were too big at times for the amount of things that were in it. And I can see that. I feel that that's not the case in any part of the game now, but especially in Hides, it feels it now feels quite cramped. Almost claustrophobic, you know, especially once you've defeated old Dragon Slayer. Sorry, not old Dragon Slayer. Once you've defeated Dragon Rider and all the Hide Knights are around, it's like, fuck. And especially given that one of they might follow you to a bonfire, or if you leave the bonfire and you go and fight the first knight, they'll happily run a good portion of the level to come and twat at you. Well played.
And that makes it feel smaller, like you say. It's more claustrophobic because like they'll follow you. You can't just unaggro and just come back later. They're gonna follow you.
This is the game doing a skeleton graveyard, though. This is if you're coming down to this straight off. If you can beat it straight off, all credit to you. But this, to me, is...
Well, at least this time you can completely beat it. You know, even because the skeleton graveyard without a divine weapon is the thing that never ends, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, this
Suicide Run Land.
This to me is in the same level of old gamer instincts that the skeleton graveyard had got. This to me is the game saying, if you've not been to the forest yet, go to the forest.
Yeah, maybe go the other way.
Yeah,
for a bit.
But it doesn't spell it out to you, and that's what I love about it. So yeah, we made headway towards No Man's Wharf via the interconnecting tunnels that lead from Hyde's down to the first No Man's Wharf bonfire. So what do you think to those initial forays sort of underground?
It's different now.
Go for it.
It's different now.
Go for it.
Kind of. Okay, so I've run that passageway 100 times. Like 100 times. And I know what's down there in the regular game. There's a bunch of knights and some items, that's about it. This time, you potter about, you go in. There's not as many knights there. There's one maybe. But it's a bit more empty. You think, oh, okay. So you head through and you go down the first set of stairs, you pop out. And at the end of the corridor, down to the bottom, is another bloody Cyan Knight. If we've not already mentioned it, we may have glossed over that, but there's one of them that hangs out in the Forest of Fallen Giants now by the King Door. Cohesiveness. And there's one down here as well. And you're like, and it's that classic thing, I think, that I've said, and you've laughed at me every time I've said it, is the phrase, why are you here?
Yeah. You notice that...
Why? You live over there!
That even though it's a door that you can't get through, it's shaped like one of the King's doors. And he's protecting the King's door in the forest. So, again, it's a nice little connectivity between...
It's going to be one of those at every King's door, isn't there?
Yeah.
Bastards. they're pretty easy to beat now. They're quite slow, so you can get the measuring quite quickly.
But it's still kind of cool to see them there because they stand out like a sore thumb in themselves, but it provides an extra touch of colour that wasn't there previously, and throws you off if you enter a level and you think, well, these are the enemies. Yeah, I think that's something that
you've seen them all. Yeah,
that we get into throughout the game that don't take things at face value.
Yeah. But then moving on through that area, you move to the next section of the tunnel. You go down the little elevator and you go through there. And then you start getting through the water. Enemies start getting up in the water, which is brilliant. And then...
Yeah, they do, don't they? I forgot about that.
Yeah, they just get up, like, oh, hello. And again, usually, once you've walked past them, bastards.
I think there's a point where you turn into... that section, and we were commenting on how beautiful the lighting looks against the water, because as the water sort of moves across the floor, the way the light shimmers over it is gorgeous. But you turn a corner, and whereas in the forest, there's the bit with the we first fight the pursuer, and there are things on the ground, and you go, "Are you going to go up?" And then you're like, "Nah." And then halfway through the fight, they go up.
And then when you beat the fight, one more gets up.
And in this one, you kind of you see sort of one of the large knights in the distance. You notice the things under the water, and you're like, "You're going to get up, aren't you?" And they do.
Yeah. And then you see what's behind it. A shiny golden sort of orangey glow in the water, and you think, "What's that over there?" And you walk up to it. What? Okay. Why is there a basilisk down here? Where did he come from? How did he get there? Did he get lost?
No, I love that. Maybe there's a version of kind of The Littlest Hobo with a basilisk in it. Like, there is a voice keeps on poisoning me down the road. That's where
I think there's a great short story series in working out how these people got these places. Like, how did you get there? Like, Basilisk Day Out. He's got separated from his tour group. Maybe
every stop I make a new friend. Just turn around, just poison you, and I'm gone again.
So yeah, any of you with any webcomic talent, why not? Basilisk, stay out, go for it. But you see another behind it. Once you beat that guy, there's another very early again, like petrified person that you can't get past.
Yeah, they blocked off a portion of the level.
So what's different up there then? Because there's a whole balcony up there you can't get to because it's in the way. What's up there?
I like that there's...
What's up there?
There are these little touchstones of, like, right, I'm going to have to remember that because I'll return to the level. Because there's a bit in Things Betwixt now at the start of the level where you can't get through straight away and you can see basilisks further in the distance.
Yeah, you kind of look over the ledge and it's like, you, I see you.
So
why are you here? But you pop on through the area and you go through the I call them the dragon tooth tunnels because they're all kind of spiky like teeth.
Yeah.
And you get to your bonfire before No Man's Wharf, but the person that's there is different because there isn't one.
I call them the Walnut Whipland.
Okay,
it's like something that would be in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So tell me why you're going down to No Man's Wharf.
No. So Lucatiel's not there now.
No, Lucatiel's gone.
At least where you think she'd be.
Where she normally is, yeah.
There. Yeah, she's not hanging out by the fire.
And she's not the only person that's not in the same position either. Because Gavers has moved. Gavlan's
as well, of course he has.
Yeah. So
everyone's moved. Like, no one's where they're supposed to be anymore.
So, but yeah, Lucatiel's that first touchstone at the bonfire that you've not got now. But when you then turn the corner and you go towards No Man's Wharf, what's changed?
It's the lighting is so much better.
This lighting engine is incredible. But whereas sort of in the initial game you looked at the No Man's Wharf and you could pretty much size it up. It's now you've now got these amazing backgrounds that are slightly blurred out, which gives a wonderful sense of depth to the level. But most of the level is black.
Misty-eyedness, I think, is the official term for it. But yeah, so we start pushing on through. Again, there's people aren't where they're supposed to be. Like, the enemy locations have completely changed. Things aren't where you'd expect them again, which is great. Which is really great. Picking up a set of armour that I didn't know was in this game. The bandit set. Now, I might be an idiot, and I might have completely not seen this before. But it's the set that's made it over. A set that's made it over from Dark Souls 1 that I didn't believe had made it. Correct me if I'm wrong, Internet, because I might be wrong. But it's the set that you choose if you choose the bandit, which is the sort of dungarees with the big baggy trousers. If you're a hood that you wear on your head with a hood with like a headband around it. I was like, I don't remember ever seeing that outfit. I was like, oh, that's really cool. Excellent. So put that on. So you look like an idiot.
Your first enemy's not where he was previously.
He's not kipping on the floor anymore, no.
They've actually changed the layout of a good chunk of the level as well.
There's an entire section of bridge that's missing now.
Yeah, you've got...
which has been turned into a shortcut, which is fantastic.
Really, really cool.
And it's the shortcut that, when I played No Man's Wharf the first time, absolutely, unequivocally, thought there should have been a shortcut there. Like, you walk up, and there's a big pile of dirt, and you think, well, I can smash that, surely, and make a shortcut through to the early bit, so I can just run straight through to the boss.
No, sir.
New. But now, there's a good old bridge you can kick down. So an actual legitimate shortcut.
So you've got the increase in the frame rate has brought an increase in the speed of the enemies as well, which I think makes...
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Is it the Vanagarians?
The droopy dong hats.
Yeah, the upside-down Skyrims.
Skyrim,
like they're a lot faster. And did they always kick like that?
I've never seen them kick before. I thought that's new as well. Yeah. Like, I think it's new. They're kicking. But there's, again, as always, a new NPC to summon. New shade.
Bradley of the Old Guard.
Bradley of the Old Bradders.
Bradders, as he became. So this is an NPC that isn't in the original game, and he looks like he's just going to go alongside you and kick ass, and then just starts charging up lightning attacks and just starts kicking all manner of ass. Is he
makes his spear glow with unearthly lightning.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Because he initially looked quite cool. Like, all right, yeah, Brad is doing well. You find his little shade icon on that very first bit of wooden platform that goes out over the wharf that you go to after starting the level. You find him roughly around there, where the first archer used to live. I'm sure you all remember him well, the dick. And you find him there, and we thought, yeah, he's all right. And then you sort of hear the sort of the whoosh behind you, like, oh, okay. Oh, he's glowing yellow now. Brilliant. Go on, Bratters. And he holds his own as well, doesn't he?
So apparently, he's got the hide spear, which he charges up as well. But according to the Dark Souls 2 wiki, he's got a disc chime. Is what looks like his shield is actually a disc chime.
Okay. Oh, that's the shield that lets you cast miracles, isn't it?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
What a cool guy!
Honestly, I've never seen that before. But again, it's another one of these NPC summons where they're so fucking cool. They look ace, and the AI is so good with them that they just kick ass, and you're like, yeah. And it's almost like as you go further on in the game, when you find an NPC summon, you be like, Bradders! Like when you see him again, it's like, yeah, you my boy, innit?
You're coming with me, boy. We're coming to get you when we do the boss run, boy.
Bradders!
Bradley boy. And then, so going back to where go back to Gavers for a second. So Gavers has moved. Gavlan has now moved. He is no longer in that house, which I think is an amazing dick move. No, it's the best kind. I love it because you go all the way through that area. You beat all of the big long-legged bastards, which I call spinnakers, but you know the big arm bastards that live in the house.
Greasy spider monkeys.
Yeah, you fight your way through those buggers at great personal expense, and you get at the top, and Gavlan's not even there.
How's this going?
I was upset. I was legit upset. I was like, where Gavlan? Gavlan feel.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the big parts of the level now is lighting the sconces. That previously it had been all about sort of making the level had been fairly well lit, and it'd been all about making your way to the centre of the map, inserting a forest lock stone, and then you could boost the entire
centre of the
thing.
map. Yeah, centre of the map that is now blocked off with a couple of carts.
So and you can still do that. But lighting the way is a big deal. Lighting the way, we made or rather, you made a discovery.
I made a discovery,
and by that I mean Nigel.
So here's the run up to it. Okay, so it was in your game. It was the second time, wasn't it?
I'll set this up because
you go for it.
I'll set this up with my initial run because I think that this would be most people's initial run. And then I'll discover.
So you go and then I'll go.
So I didn't discover this. I didn't discover Nigel, and I imagine many might miss it as I have. There's a room with a sort of this little cave with a Vanagarian. Is it Vanagarian?
Droopy Dong.
Yeah, on top, and under it is a lit cave. The cave is the distraction, containing an enemy with a torch. And in my run, I didn't see the guy that was above the cave, and I went in to batter him. The guy on top jumped down, and I pretty much panted it.
Yeah. But so for those of you who haven't played Scholar yet, it's the cave where the very first spider monkey used to be. Yeah. But
there's something very cool, very cool, and. Honestly, if you hadn't figured this out, if you hadn't been like, science, I wouldn't have known about it. And thinking about this afterwards, I actually think there's another Nigel moment further in the game.
Ooh, okay.
Go for it.
So, on our second or third run through this bit, because we died a couple of times, we popped in, and you go under, we beat the Vangarian, and there's the guy stood in the little hut holding a little torch, and he's
walking around it, isn't he?
It's one of the guys from the crypt. Yeah, it's one of the guys from the crypt.
Who attacks you in the crypt?
Yeah, who normally attack you. So I wandered up to it with my shield up, just to have a little look at him, because again, we were playing the "Why are you here?" card.
Yeah.
And I was having a look at him, sort of, running around yelling, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" at him. And I realised after a few seconds that he wasn't attacking me. Mm-hmm. He was turning to face me, but he wasn't attacking me. And I thought, that's unusual. So I put my shield down, and I sort of ran up to him, and I kind of pointed at him and made a gesture, and nothing happened. I thought, that's strange. Mm. And I sort of wandered away, And I sort of tilted the camera back, and I noticed he was walking forwards. And that is when I yelled at you, "Don't kill him!" I yelled something on the lines of, "There's an enemy following me, just watch him, don't touch him." And he followed. And he followed us out. So we walk out to the area, and this guy with the torch, very gently, Nigel, as we have now come to name him, just calmly walks out, holding his torch, illuminating a proper torch's worth of area by himself.
Because let's
From have done, yeah. They've given you a torch.
Let's state that the area with the lighting engine is now very dark, and
Quite dark.
if you're going through on your own, you have to carry a torch and light the sconces as you go, because there's lots here now that will fuck you up, not just within the placement, but the speed and the extra little touches with the enemies. It's an area that we pretty much went through in one go on the PS3 and the 360 versions. We died a lot on this.
We did.
Along the way. So ordinarily, carrying a torch is a big deal, especially if you're playing in single player. But From have put something in here that looks like a regular enemy, that doesn't attack you, that carries a torch, that will go through the game, will go through the level, lighting the way for you. But the other little twist on that is, you've got to protect Nigel.
You have to protect Nigel because he is still classed as an enemy. You can auto-target him, as I found out by accident once, when it just like clicked, went, no, and rolled away in case I accidentally stabbed him.
We became very fond of Nigel.
We did. He started following us, and once we realised he was following us, we thought, can we take him up here? Oh, he's following us up the stairs.
But it's one thing...
And we had a moment, there was a moment where we thought, nah, he's given up. And then he turned the corner, and it was, hey, Nigel!
And like, it got to the point where we'd normally be having like what would normally be a scrap with the two of us with a number of enemies. You now had half an eye on Nigel, that he was all right.
Yeah, making sure he hadn't wandered into anything that he shouldn't have.
And also we had a few revenge killings with like, don't you touch Nigel.
Get away from Nigel.
But
he is our friend.
We got a good way into the level, and it might have been the spider monkey things, or
It was, no, I tell you exactly what it was. It was the open plaza in front of the building where the Vangarians are sitting down on the thing, and the same bit that leads to where the lockstone goes.
Yeah.
There are puddles of oil on the floor there, which the archers can light and can shoot.
Yep.
And light on fire, so making flaming puddles on the floor.
And let's emphasise as well that there are now archers in the level who will fire arrows pretty much across the level to try,
especially if you do that Pharos lockstone. They start the second you do that. They will see you like,
once light is in it, light works against you in the fact that you can see more, but enemies can see more of you. And their AI is ramped up to the degree that if they see you, they will come for you, no matter how far away they are. No, but it's even better than classic Dark Souls, because it just feels like there's a greater intelligence there, that there's a greater aggression, and that almost heightens classic Dark Souls, because you're more on edge. That an enemy won't have a certain portion where they'll see you, or a certain portion where they'll come back, because if you fuck them off, or if they see you, they're still coming for you until you stop them. So we're gonna take a moment now, because we lost Nigel.
We did. He tragically, while trying to walk towards you to help you, he tragically strolled very calmly through a puddle of fire.
Nigel.
And very carefully keeled over on his knees and expired.
Nigel. Nigel, the two of us need look no more. We both found what we were looking for. I am through no man's wars, and you are dead of course. And you, my friend, can't see you've got a friend in me.
You've got a friend in me.
angel, your light would wander here and there, dancing over undead skin and strands of hair. If you ever look behind and don't like what you find, I thought you'd enter in your head. We're sorry that you're dead.
You got a friend in me.
So yeah, moving on.
Moving on from that wonderful musical interlude.
So the boss battle after that. Shush my mouth. We
forgot something.
There are secrets. We're not saying what the secrets are, but they are hidden and they are violent and they are very fast and they are not normally in the level. Fucking ace. And they chased us. They absolutely chased us right the way across the level. Yeah, and they
because we lost each other. You wandered one way and I went the other way, and then we both turned around. Like, where did you go?
Both of them were chasing me.
You made friends, and I was kind of unsure as to what happened.
I was proper fucking panting it at that point because they are fast and they are vicious. And if you let one of them lead, they will do 3/4 of your energy bar at least. And obviously there are those moments in Dark Souls where if you swing, you leave yourself open if the enemy counters you. But yeah, surprises, fucking A.
Yeah, boy.
But then we got to the boss battle with Flexile Sentry, which
on the way to it, another surprise.
Ooh.
Remember?
Yes, a little bit of continuity between levels.
Yeah, a couple of the Bastille enemies, the bandaged up tall guys with the cloaks and the machetes on a stick. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of them on that boat. There's the boat that takes you to where they live.
There's one that's piloting the boat, isn't the captain of the boat?
Which is brilliant.
I fucking love that level of continuity between.
That's a lovely little teaser for where you're going as well.
Well, I said it's one of my favourite things is that it now doesn't seem like an interconnected series of levels. You know, just like a level. These are the enemies on that level. It does feel like that. I mean, I loved it in Dark Souls where you get the channelers at certain points in the game, and you'd be like, yeah, I can see the reach of Seath and how he's corrupting the world and how he's exploring further into the world. That was really cool, but they've now got a similar sort of thing throughout Dark Souls 2, and it's crazy cool.
Yeah, it starts the brain thinking going again, like, well, that's there, so that person must be interested in this, and it kind of puts like new light on quite a lot of the areas as well, like the fact the Cyan Knights are now guarding the doors even though there's nothing in one of them, and it's broken and he's still there. Like, have they gone nuts as well?
I mean, this continues throughout the entire game, and it's fucking ace. It's something that I really love of it. And, you know, when you see an enemy that you're familiar with from other areas, when you then see them in an area that you're not used to seeing them, it's just kind of like, well, why are you here? And I know a lot of folks had that problem with Dark Souls 2, that there wasn't that degree of... that there wasn't a natural questioning that was elicited within them.
Items were just there. There wasn't a story behind some of them. They were just there.
With the people and stuff. I think that it asks you these questions now, and I really love that he does that.
Can I just say as well? I think "Why Are You Here" is the world's shittest postcard.
No.
Why are you here?
No, the world's shittest postcard was from Frisky Dingo with "Welcome to You Are Doom." Nice. But yeah, the boss battle at the end of that, the Flexile Sentry, is still one of my favourites in the game, and maybe even in Souls as a whole.
It hasn't changed a lot, I don't think. It's done a couple of attacks I haven't seen before, but maybe that's because I haven't remembered it well.
Yeah, I mean,
there's one where it reaches over backwards with its scimitars and jabs you when you're on the club side, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's for those that are listening that haven't played Dark Souls 2, it's essentially like it's very, very Ray Harryhausen. And it's essentially like two different, almost robotic creatures. One with two massive katanas, and one with
two big spiky sticks.
Two big sort of spiky maces. But they're kind of almost tied together in the middle and are back to back, and they both do different attacks depending on which side of them they're facing. But my favourite attack is one where one of them will lean forward, and the one with the swords will kind of lean backwards and then sort of thrust his swords towards the ground. So one of them is almost sort of bent over at the waist, and the other one is carried over because he's tied on his back, but will then lift his hands and sort of throw his swords forward. Fucking ace. And all the time, this small cabin is filling up more and more with water, which slows you down, and looks fantastic. I just think that
looks better than ever.
This is one of the areas where I'd wager that Miyazaki was actually involved in. In the original game and in here, the whole area just feels kind of special and magical, and interconnected, I guess. And
an interesting fact as well, which may have been present in the original Dark Souls 2, I don't know, again, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but when you beat the Flexi, the water does then very slowly still continue to rise.
Yeah, you applied science again.
Yeah, I just sort of stood still for a bit and was just thinking, and I looked at my armour and I sort of noticed that, is that going up? No, that can't be. And I watched it for a minute, and it kind of slowly crept its way up the scales of my armour. Targray's armour, because fuck that guy. And it's got to my shield hand, and then I got scared. It got a bit too real, and I got out of the water in case I drowned. I can't swim. It's a very real problem for me. Put a snake in that thing, and that would be hell. But yeah, no, the water continues to rise, and I don't know if that was there originally. Like I say, we're not the most knowledgeable of people.
Yeah, there's a degree of chaos.
We know some stuff, but we're not encyclopedias.
So No Man's...
And I'm not going to cheat and look at the wiki.
So No Man's Wharf then? What's your thoughts?
It's like, I think Newman's Wharf, Gary Newman's Wharf. I think it's my favourite level so far.
Yeah, it just
because we've done the Forest of Fallen Giants. We have done all the Pursuer stuff up to this point. We've done Hade, both ways, Hade and No Man's Wharf, and No Man's Wharf is my favourite so far.
So, but
brilliant people, brilliant little secrets. Nigel, God rest his soul. Nigel,
so
pour one out.
But next time we've got Lost Bastille, which maybe is my favourite level so far. So it'll be interesting to see how that
things are going to get silly in the Bastille.
But yeah, we'll go into a bit more Bloodborne next time, and we'll probably wage it into Lost Bastille. We are going to be appearing on Bonfireside Chat
very excited.
Next week, so we'll have a little bit of Bloodborne colour there. But
we're going to be talking about the bit up to Father Gascoigne.
So please tune into that. But everybody listens to Bonfireside Chat anyway because it's shit hot.
Great.
If there's any regrets, I don't want to go out on a sad note for Nigel, because Nigel deserves celebrating. I mean, imagine a deity that would emerge from a cave and I don't know,
light the way for the those who would walk in the dark.
I know, it's the sort of thing that religions are based on.
I know, right?
But we should celebrate it. Think good thoughts, Nigel.
I'm thinking them. Nigel.
Until next time.
Cheery bye.
Everybody all around the world, gotta tell you what I just heard. There's gonna be a party all over the world. I saw a message written in soapstone. Who left it, I don't even know. I saw these ghosts freezing from different worlds. All over the world, Nigel is the word. Everybody's gonna feel his light tonight. Everybody walking down the street, everybody moving to the beat. They're gonna get hot down in the Iron Keep.
And make sailors rise, Iron Keep.
We're gonna take a trip across the sea. Steel giant souls of groovy glee. We're gonna hit the cells down in Las Bastille. All over the world, Nigel is the word. Everybody's gonna feel his light tonight. Train, come on up, Iron Keep. Hide his shade, Bruce DLC. Black goat sinners rise, belfry song. All his family and huntsman's cause. All over the world, Nigel is the word. Everybody's gonna feel his light tonight. Everybody all around the world, gotta tell you what I just heard. Everybody walking down